Hello, friends. How are you all? I hope you're doing great and taking care of yourself. Today, we will be breaking down one of the most confusing topics in the engineering teams, which is DevOps versus SRE versus platform engineering. If you are new to this YouTube channel, I try to basically share my learning experience through this YouTube channel on DevOps tools like Ansible, Git, Terraform, also the cloud certification learning and passing experience. Currently, I'm running the Docker series for beginners where we are talking about how to install the Docker, what is difference between a Docker image versus Docker container, what is container versus virtual machines, and lot of exciting things. So to watch that video series to level up your skill and learn the Docker from the DevOps or SRE perspective. So without much further delay, let's get started. So, friends, let's together learn the difference between SRE, DevOps engineer, as well as a platform engineer, and which one is the best for you. So, I have break down this video into the four agendas. One is the culture shift, second is the goal, third is the roles and responsibilities, and the fourth one is the key takeaways. So what is this culture shift? The culture shift is very important if you are ready to collaborate and work together. That kind of mindset is needed, be it a DevOps engineer, be it an SRE, be it a platform engineer, and that is one of the pillar in each of these areas: collaboration, working together. So the DevOps definitely focuses on the collaboration between the development teams and the operations. That's why I've told it's not a tool or a technology to be learned. It is kind of a mindset. If you have that mindset of collaboration, the product life cycle becomes easier, because your team, development team and operations team, they are always in sync and they know what they are achieving towards one goal, which is a product delivery. The DevOps also focuses on identifying the repetitive tasks, how we can automate that. It can be done by writing a simple shell script, Python script, etc. The DevOps engineer also focuses on the continuous integration and continuous deployment or the delivery for the faster and safe releases. The DevOps engineer is, or DevOps role is also about monitoring and getting the continuous feedback from their operations team, how we can deliver the product in a better way. Right, let's talk about SRE. The SRE is basically about making sure your applications are reliable and running up and running 24 by 7. The SRE also has a goal of automation, and it is done through different transformation levers, which can be self-healing, self-elimination and automation. The SRE also focusing on setting up the SLA, SLO, and SLI. And this is achieved by again collaborating with the different development teams or a different internal teams within your organization. The SRE goal is also whether you have a mindset of responding and resolving the incident without having the major business impact. So, and at last, the SRE is also about how much you contribute in the RCA, or we call it as a blameless postmortems. What is your contribution in the root cause analysis? The last one is the platform engineer. The platform engineer focuses on building the service self-service tools for the developers. It is basically you are setting the path on the road for the developers. They also focus on identifying the areas of automation, and also they focus on continuous improving the platform for the deployment. Once the code is gone into the production, how is my platform, whether it's safe, reliable, resilience, etc. So that's what is the culture shift for all these three roles, which is DevOps, SRE, and the platform engineer. I hope you got an understanding of the first agenda, which is the culture shift. Let's quickly move down to the next agenda, which is goal. So let's talk about the goals from each role perspective. So what is the goal for the DevOps engineer? What is a goal of SRE engineer? What is a goal of the platform engineer? So the first goal for the DevOps engineer is improving the communication and collaboration between the development teams and the operations. The second goal is to deliver the features and fixes quickly through the automation and CI/CD pipeline. The third goal is catch issues earlier with the automated testing, continuous integration, and the feedback loops. The fourth one is also DevOps focuses on using the monitoring tools like Splunk, Dynatrace, App Dynamics, etc. For the logging, they can use the data log, etc. And also, they focus on the continuous feedback from the users to improve the application and the processes. So now, what is the goal of SRE? The SRE goal is to make sure the services are constantly meeting the user expectations from availability perspective, latency, correctness, etc. So their goal is on the four golden principles of SRE defined by Google, which is latency, traffic, saturation, error budgets, etc. uh, the second goal is to basically eliminate the repetitive manual and operational work through automation and tooling. So this basically focuses on the transformation river, which I was talking few minutes back, which is self-healing, self-elimination, and the automation. And that automation can be done by writing a simple shell script, Python script, etc. The tooling, when I talk about getting familiar yourself with the monitoring tools like Prometheus, if I talk about the observability tools like Dynatrace, App Dynamics, if I talk about the log monitoring tools, then getting familiar with the Splunk, you can also have the Kibana as one of your monitoring tool, you etc. Now they also their goal is to basically identify and respond and resolve the incidents as soon as possible to minimize the user impact. That means if you have a production issue which is a priority 3, their basically goal is to basically avoid P1 and P2 issues. They focus on basically responding the incidents as well as figuring out the workarounds by working with different internal teams and the development teams and provide the fix immediately before it becomes a P1 issue or a P2 issue where it has the wider impact from the business perspective as well as impact to different applications which are dependent on that. The last one, as I always said, observability and monitoring. Their goal is to basically focus on observability, monitoring, and observability they can achieve through traces, logs, etc. And the last one is defining and monitoring the SLA, SLO, and SLI, which is another important from the SRE perspective, as mentioned by Google SRE book. Now, what does the platform engineer goal is? So their goal is to basically develop the internal platforms for the developers, which can be a self service platform. So tomorrow, if I want to basically uh, deploy I want to basically put a code or check in a code into a GitLab. And if I have a self-service for that, rather than executing git add, git push, git commit, etc., I will have a portal where I can go, this is the code, please go ahead and do the check-in into the Git. So that kind of internal platform or a self-service tool I can build, and which can help developers to achieve their committing the code in much faster way, so that they can focus on other development activities. The second goal is automating the infrastructure. The third goal is build the platform level observability and monitoring. The SRE focuses just on a specific health check of the application and the monitoring of the application, but the platform engineer is to make sure the overall platform level, where that means the infrastructure behind running that application. How can I build a robust observability and the monitoring for my platform, right? And the last one is ensure the production readiness, which I mentioned is to make sure that the production environment is safe, reliable, resilient whenever we deploy any code in the production. That's what is the goals of the DevOps versus SRE versus platform engineer. Now we will be moving to our third agenda, which is roles and responsibilities, and which I'm really excited to share with you. This is one of my favorite session where I basically talk about what each person does on your day-to-day basis, which is roles and responsibilities. So let's quickly get into that. So what is the role and responsibility of DevOps engineer, right? So let's understand. So their main responsibility is to basically deliver the features and the fixes quickly, automate and implement the CI/CD pipelines. Okay, their also focus is on the in building the DevOps and ops culture within the team, which is basically collaborating, working together as one team. They also focus on monitoring the systems and identifying the bottlenecks, as how I can make my system more safer, more resilient, and more reliable. So that is what one of the role of DevOps engineer is. Think of DevOps as the engine that keeps the development and operations moving in sync. So now another exciting role is about SRE, what they do on their day-to-day basis. I'm working as an SRE in my current role, where I focus on defining and monitoring the SLOs, SLA, SLI, and this all is achieved by work collaborating with different internal teams. I also focus on basically incident response. As I mentioned, as soon as the incident comes, my role is to basically how soon I can respond to that incident. Okay, and what work around I can put to resolve that incident. My another role is also to run the root cause analysis and the post mortems. That is very important from the SRE perspective. And one of the key role for me is to basically basically identify the repetitive tasks, or how I can reduce the toil by automating or building the automation tools, which can be by using a simple shell script, Python script, or any other tech stack, right? So now coming to the platform engineer, what are their roles and responsibilities? If you're looking for the platform engineer, you need to be technically strong. And for that you need to be also get familiar with the AI tech stack, right? Which can be a machine learning, agentic AI, generative AI, writing and LLM models, etc. Right? So their basically day-to-day responsibility is to basically build these self-service tools for the development team or development members. They also focus on automating the infrastructure. How I can automate the infrastructure? A simple can be, I want to basically build a VM on AWS. Also, I want to set up the subnets, VPCs, NATs, NCL, S3 buckets, etc. How this whole thing I can automate it? That is what the job of platform engineering. They can write us some terraform code, etc. to build that. They also need to know the latest AI and ML, which is machine learning, to improve the automation. The another important thing or the core role is to basically um, gather the feedback from the different teams by working together with DevOps, SRE, and the other operations team, and basically try to improve and standardize the process. So that's what is the role and responsibility of the platform engineer is. Think a platform engineer is, as I mentioned earlier, that they create the road that developers can use to ship the software faster and more consistently. So what is the DevOps role is, think of as the engine which always makes sure the development teams and the operations teams are always in sync in each and every phase of product delivery. The SRE is about stability, reliability, and resilient. If DevOps is about the speed, the SRE is about stability. And what is the platform engineering? It's basically creating the road or the path which developers can use to ship the software faster and more constantly. So that's what is the role of all these three three people, or I would say DevOps engineer, SRE, and the platform. Now, let's quickly talk about the key takeaways. So before we jump into the key takeaways, I wanted to basically have a quick walkthrough of what kind of tech stack you should basically learn in order to be a DevOps engineer or an SRE or a platform engineer. So here is the quick thing. See, I have divided this into a various categories like the goal. The SRE goal is to keep the systems reliable, resilient, and faster. The DevOps is role is to basically automate and speed up the delivery of the software slash product. And the platform engineer goal is to basically build the internal platform for the developers, which I call it as a self-service tool, right? From the cloud perspective, if you want to get into an SRE, DevOps, or a platform engineer, you can learn any one of these cloud technology, which is AWS services, GCP, Azure, etc. There are other cloud providers also, Oracle, IBM, depending upon what your firm is intended to use, right? My firm is basically using a mixture of AWS and Azure. So if your firm is using AWS and GCP, learn that, right? Understand what they are looking from the longer learn in the cloud world, right? The third category is the containers. Be it a SRE or a DevOps, you should know what is Docker, how they work, and what is Kubernetes. How can I build a image using a Docker image, right? How can I run the container in Docker, right? How can I orchestrate the different pods and the containers, this, right? So learn about that. If you're a platform, if you're looking for a platform engineer, then you should be a deep expert in Kubernetes. So for that, you can basically go for CKA or CKD certification, which will help you to basically understand the Kubernetes from the detail or the depth perspective. If I'm looking from the infrastructure as a code, then knowing Terraform and Ansible is must for SRE and DevOps engineer. Along with, if you're looking for a platform engineer, then you should know Plumi, Crossprem, etc. If I talk about the CI/CD tools, GitHub, Git Actions, GitOps is another thing, Jenkins, GitLab, etc. If you're looking for the platform engineer, you need to know the cargo workflow. From the monitoring perspective, Prometheus, Grafana, Dynatrace, Splunk, App Dynamics, those are used across every industry or a bank. When you're talking about an SRE role, they will interview you on this. How can you set up a dashboard in Grafana? If I'm using data source as the platform, a data source, Prometheus in Grafana, right? How can I set up the alerts, dashboards using Dynatrace? If I want to write a Splunk query to fetch the record, how I will do that, right? And DevOps should know all these basic monitoring tools, what I'm talking about. But when we talk about the platform engineer, they need to know the platform level monitoring, how they can basically set up an alert and a dashboard at the infrastructure level or the platform level, and they should be a hands-on on Prometheus. If I talk about automation, SRE, Python and Bash must be known. Python is very easy to learn. You can basically enroll yourself for a Udemy course. For the Bash, I have created the video on my YouTube channel where I have around 20 plus videos on how to use different Linux commands, how to write your shell script, how to use arrays, etc. So do go and watch that. I will be mentioning that in my video description as well. The DevOps should know the Python, Bash and YAML, which is one of the thing. The platform engineer, if I talk about, is the Python, Bash and Go. The last, which is very important, is the focus of these all three uh, uh, people, right? SRE people, DevOps engineer, platform engineer. SRE focuses on reliability, incidents, and the performance. DevOps focuses on pipelines, automation, and the faster releases using continuous integration and continuous delivery or the deployment. The platform engineer focus on the developer experience, how efficient I can build a self-service tool so that my developer team can basically put their code into the production. And then finally standardization of the processes, right? So that those are some of the key stack which I have categorized in different category. Now let's quickly move to the key takeaways. So until now we have looked goals, culture shift, tech stack, but I'm really excited to talk about the key takeaways for all these three, which is SRE, DevOps, and platform engineer role. And the key takeaway is togetherness. So and collaboration. Together, these all um, teams are the modern engineering teams. See, DevOps is basically about the culture, SRE about reliability, resilience, focus, and the platform engineer is about the developer enablement. So these three teams needs to work together, and they are our modern engineering teams. I hope you got an understanding of what is difference between SRE, DevOps and platform engineering, and this video will help you to basically choose the best role which you see yourself has. If you find this breakdown was really helpful, do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content on DevOps, SRE, etc. Until then, take care. Bye bye.